I'm Micah Smith, and this is Automation Anywhere Quick Tips. In this quick tip, we're going to take a look at the dictionary variable type from Automation Anywhere Enterprise A2019. We're going to try to understand exactly what these dictionaries are used for, how they can be used within our bot, and how you might use them to accelerate your method of being able to store and retrieve values. So first off, what is a dictionary used for? And notice I've got a picture of a dictionary icon here, right? And that's not just to be like funny play on words. We're going to use that to help us understand exactly what dictionaries are for and how they can be used. Sound good? So let's first take a look at what a dictionary is used for. And a dictionary is used for the storage and retrieval of a collection of values. So in some of our other quick tip videos, we've looked at using the number variable type or using the string variable type. And we always said that, hey, I can reference the variable name for a string or for a number, and it would return the specific value of that number or string, right? And it's really like a one-to-one relationship. I have one variable, I have one variable definition or what the variable actually contains. And so a dictionary allows us to really expand on that. So to understand this, let's think about an actual dictionary, right? The paper dictionary that we've maybe still have in our house, but probably not. In a dictionary, there's a bunch of words, right? And I would go to a dictionary, I would look up a word, and I would get the definition, right? Each word in the dictionary is unique. There might be one or more definitions, but I would go look for a word and I could see the definition. So if I looked up the word robot, I would get the definition of a robot, right? Super obvious. That's how dictionaries work. We all understand that, right? When we want to compare that to the dictionary variable type, we want to look at two different values here, and it's really a key and a value. The key in this example would be robot, and that's what I'm looking up in the dictionary. The value is what's being returned to me that's associated with that key, right? The value is what I was ultimately getting at, which is the definition of the word robot. Okay, so when we store data inside of a dictionary in Automation Anywhere A2019, I give each value that I'm storing a key, which allows me to reference it later, and I give it a value, which is what I want to pull back later, right? And so if I wanted to pull back the definition for robot, I would give the key of robot. I could then return the definition of robot. Let's look at this as an actual example in a bot build. So let's go back here. I've got just an empty bot build. You can do this in Community Edition if you want to. I'm doing it in Enterprise, but it's all going to be the same for this example. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create my first dictionary. So I'm going to click on the add variable, and I'm just going to do a lowercase d because I'm going to prefix my dictionary with a lowercase d, and then I'll call it customer data, right? So let's use the example that maybe I'm trying to collect customer data that I need to enter into a system. I might have to look up some of that customer data in one application, a little bit more customer data in another application, and then maybe my list of customers that I'm even doing that research for comes from a spreadsheet. So I've got D customer data. For my type, I'm going to select dictionary. Okay. Now, when I select dictionary, notice that the user interface changes a little bit and it says the dictionary is empty. Now, we're going to work with the dictionary a couple different ways here. So what I'm going to do is first add a couple values to my dictionary. So I'm going to give a key of first name, and I'm doing camel case naming just like we were doing with our variables. You don't have to do that. That's just how I like to do it. And then I'll give a value, let's say Dan, and we'll do 3 values here. We'll do last name. We'll do Stevens. Is that how you? I think that's how you spell Stevens. And then we'll do street address, and we'll give a value of 6328 Shelton Lane. All right, so I'm going to hit create. Now at this point I have a dictionary. It has 3 values in it. Okay, I'm going to do one more value, and I'm just going to create this in a variable. I'm going to call this one S city. And I'll give this a default value so we don't have to define it later. Let's say San Diego. Okay. So let's do a couple things with our dictionary. I'm going to open back up the actions pane here. And notice I've already got dictionary open, but I'm going to open it back up, right? And I've got a couple actions. I can assign, which allows me to move the data from one dictionary to another if I'm copying full dictionary to full dictionary. I can use get if I need to return the entry of a particular value. So I would give a key, it would return to me the value. I can use put, which allows me to insert values into a dictionary. I can do remove, which allows me to take values out of a dictionary, delete them. And then I also have size, which allows me to return the size of a dictionary. So let's start with size. I'm going to drag that up here. Okay. Now, when I'm working with size, I want to know how big my dictionary is, right? Maybe I want to do looping through it, or I want to understand if the dictionary has all the values that I expect. So when I'm going to my size action, I would give the dictionary I'm specifically trying to determine the size of, and then I give an output variable. Now, the output of size is coming as a number, so I'm just going to put in dict size, and we'll hit create and select. Now, to display that, because it is a number, I'll have to convert it to a string. So let's get up a message box here. Here it is. So again, I'm just going to message box and dragging that over. For my message here, I'm going to put dictionary size. And again, anything that I type here that is not a variable is going to show up as a literal character. So I'm just doing the dictionary size so that when we see that message, it's kind of formatted nicely. I'll put $n, and here we have dict size showing up. Okay. If I type dot number, notice that my IntelliSense here picks up on a couple different things I could do. I'm going to do that number colon to string. Okay. So that's going to convert that number to a string on the fly. So let's go ahead and run that. So again, right now we should only have 3 values in our dictionary. So size should come back and tell us 3. Okay. Perfect. So if we want to add to that dictionary, let's go back and let's do a put. I know it's kind of confusing here when you see put and assign, but assign is really when I'm trying to copy all the values from a dictionary to another dictionary. Put is for a specific value. So for my dictionary value, I'm going to say D customer data. I'm going to associate this to a particular key. So I'll put city, and then I'll choose a variable, and we'll use S city. So again, imagine that I just grabbed this from, maybe I extracted that data from a web interface, and I have this kind of ongoing dictionary for my customer that I'm going to continue to add values into as we go along through the process. That allows me to basically create and store all of that data in one variable that has many, almost like sub-references to its data. It also asks to assign the previous value to a variable. Now, for our dictionary, city was not a key that previously existed. So this value would be blank no matter what. I'm just going to put it at prompt assignment. You do have to fill it in, but I'm just leaving it as prompt assignment because I don't really care what used to be in it because I know it was empty. All right, we'll hit save. Now, the thing that I really like about dictionaries is that, again, I can quickly assign new values to it, right? There's not necessarily like, oh, well, you defined it as only 5 items and now you put a 6th. You don't have to worry about that. But the really nice thing is I can actually pull those values back really easily. So if I wanted to, in my message box, I'm going to update it here. I'm going to say first name and then colon. Again, this is just literal characters. If I wanted to put a space here, I could do that. But I'm going to press F2. And I'll go down and I'm going to grab the dictionary and I'll select a key. And if I put in the key first name and hit yes insert, that allows me to insert that first name. So let's do the rest of them real quick. I have last name, I have street address, and I have city. And I'm going to go through real quick and fill out those variables. Again, however I named the keys, that's what I have to reference here, because it is going to matter. So let me go back here and say D customer data, street address. Just like if I looked up a word in a dictionary that didn't actually exist, if I reference a key here that doesn't actually exist, that's not gonna work for me getting output. So last one is going to be D customer data, which is the one we just added, which is city. Hit yes insert. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my dictionary put above my dictionary size. so that now we should see that the dictionary has 4 items in it. So we'll let that deploy. Again, that should pull back all of the data that we entered into our dictionary, either that we entered at the beginning or that we added dynamically like we did with city. Cool. So that worked. That pulled back all the data. Now, one other thing I want to point out here. We said that the dictionary keys must be unique. If I change this put, right? Let's say I copy this one. I'll have 2 puts here. If I change this put and I wanted to associate with the key first name my value of city, let's see what happens here. What should happen is that it's going to overwrite the value that was already there. So now we see that the first name says San Diego and the city says San Diego. So my keys have to be unique. I can't just keep putting in lots of keys that say first name, because then when we go to retrieve it, we wouldn't know which first name we're talking about, right? So a couple tips for your dictionary data types. Make sure all of your keys are uniquely defined. Make sure you know what they are so that when you need to pull them back later, you know how to do that. Okay? I'm Micah Smith. This has been Automation Anywhere Quick Tips. Go build awesome bots and go be great.